Welcome to the Three Dot Podcast, episode 23. We have Phil here, back in the studio. How you doing?
I'm doing well, Nick.
Good
How
to
are
see
you?
you. I am fantastic.
Good. It's great to see you.
Little Three Dot update. 570 views on the channel so far. A little over a month of existence. So not too bad.
Yeah,
Pretty
not
good.
too shabby at all.
Could use even more promotion, but some people don't do that. We're here. Haley's out picking out wedding dresses right now.
Has she sent you any pictures of her in them?
No, she does. I'm not supposed to see it.
Oh.
Yeah, I don't, whatever.
Right.
But yeah, apparently I'm not supposed to see it. So
It's a rip-off.
Tradition. Phil, we're going to go right into you. I talked last week.
Yeah,
We had an issue.
we did.
You removed yourself from a tag of the show on Facebook.
That I did.
And I feel like I laid out your case pretty well.
You did. I'm not going to say that you didn't.
Okay. Do you just have anything more to say about that? Because you understand how it would bother me.
I understand.
Okay.
I understand your reasoning. I really don't have anything else to add. You kind of hit them all. You kind of hit it all
Last week.
dead on. I'm not trying to
Are you embarrassed of the show?
No, I'm not embarrassed of the show.
Okay.
You pretty much had it right. I'm just like I said, just
Yes.
just trying to keep it clean, I guess.
Sure.
And that's not.
But so my issue with it also is a couple weeks before that I had texted saying let's post it on Facebook.
Yeah.
And you weren't always here all the time, so I get all right. I'm not in it, not necessarily posting it because like James hasn't posted the last couple. That sure, whatever. But if you're on it, or when I said that, why not say then? I might not post it because we curse in it. Or is the church fan a new development?
Well, it's kind of newer.
Okay.
It's a more newer thing, and also just at the time I wasn't really thinking about it, and so then when it comes time to, everything's going through my head. All right, this. But yeah, church is that's a newer thing that I'm getting involved with.
So will you never promote the show? Would you consider making a new Facebook under an assumed name, Hill Foltz, and then posting links to the podcast?
You know, we can come up.
I told you should make a burner Twitter.
We could come. You did tell me that.
You should do that.
Should I come up with a burner Twitter for the dot?
Yeah, do it.
All right.
A few people have, and I don't know who all of them are.
All right, let's do it.
But no, it was just, I was so pissed. You know me. I get instantly pissed if I calm down. But when you got that text of, did you untag yourself? What went through your head?
Dude, when I got that text, because when I did it, I was like, I'm not, and this isn't throwing shade at you at all, but when I did it, I was like, nobody cares if you untag yourself in a post. And I untagged myself, and I was sitting and thinking, I was like, $20 says Nick text me. And he says, did you untag yourself?
Well, you liked it right away. As soon as I posted it, so I'm like, oh shit, all right.
I know.
But then I was like, that was weird that he liked it so fast. And then I looked at it a couple minutes later because someone else liked it, and it just says Phil Holtz with no tag, and I'm like, well, I wouldn't put his full name in it if because now it just reads we're here with Phil Holtz. It was only in there to make the tag.
That's fair. And I didn't think about that.
It was just great because I was just like, what the fuck? Why would you not? Oh, I cussed. See, now we can't.
Oh,
now
darn.
You can't promote this one either.
Darn.
Damn it! I could go put in bleeps.
I guess
would you promote it then?
We could do that. We could throw some bleeps in.
Okay. Do you know how to do that? Remember, you were supposed to be our producer.
I know.
I get into this.
I can make that happen.
Well, now you're the only co-host currently.
I can make that happen.
Phil, you've had quite the run with 3 Dot. You were.
I have.
You were a co-host, then a producer, then a co-host / producer, then just producer, and now you're just a co-host again. A lot of hats.
It's all over the place.
It is.
I will wear them all for as short of amount of time, or as long.
You're
of
currently
time.
the longest tenured employee, unless Murph comes back on. Because
Outside
then
of
he would
yourself.
technically.
Right.
Well, yeah. No, I'm saying employee. Like I'm the creator.
Yes.
But then you and Murph were there for the original tapes.
Oh yeah,
way back.
That was a long time. When did we start doing this?
Like Murph sent me an email the other day of one we did in a Frickers parking lot.
Oh no way!
And it was, I think, 6 years ago, or 5 or 6 years ago.
Was it that long?
Well, Murph and I did a few before.
I remember that.
Yeah, and then the three of us started doing it. But within the last month is the first time it's been official
out there.
Well, out there, and then we started doing the fantasy football thing.
Yeah, that's true.
But now it's become more of an actual show, and it's really just fun to think of the progression of it from where we started, recorded on a cell phone. Just trying to see if we have anything.
Throwing a cell phone on. That sounds pretty good.
Or the time that we recorded one in your basement and Murph and I showed up just out of our minds, drunk.
Yes. I remember that.
We were like, we're going to do a show. It's going to be great. It's the worst show. Actually, it wasn't bad. Except we did 2 of them because halfway through I was like, all right, you guys want to start?
Yeah,
you remember?
That was great.
That was a good time.
Oh my gosh, I forgot about that.
I just remember that because I remember leaving and being like, Lauren has to be like, what the fuck just happened?
Oh, she's always on top of it with this stuff. It's not a surprise anymore.
This
is how we do it.
Along the same vein of inside 3-dot issues, I fired my cousin.
Bold.
He was going to do shorts for us and do some editing for us. Another day, I hadn't heard from him.
Was it going to be like YouTube shorts?
Yeah, and Instagram Reels and stuff. And he was all about it.
Yeah.
So then I texted him. Well, I hadn't heard from him. Sent him an episode. Didn't hear from him. So then earlier this week, I texted him. I'm like, hey, the channel's got 550 views. By the way, you're fired. That was... I haven't heard back from that either. So maybe... it's going to turn out he's just been in the hospital without access to his phone. Well, sorry.
That'd be dark.
It would be dark.
I mean, it is what it is, but...
Yeah, do it. So we are going to be looking at potential co-hosts to bring in. We'll probably rotate some in. Like, it'll be you and me, and then bring somebody. I'm going to finally get Microwave Guy in here. And if I have to change the day we do it, that's fine. But I'm going to bring him in for an episode. Or Russell Stover. We might get him in, the caller from that time.
Oh, yes.
We might get the Vermont Carl voice guy. We might bring him in for an episode. So we're just going to start rotating. And what?
I have told a handful of people about the PSA.
The dog one?
Yes.
Phenomenal.
It was too funny.
And the turnaround time for him to get that to me, like, because we talked about it at work, there's 3 of us kind of just spitballing and going off and kind of just ranting. What the fuck word am I thinking of? It's really bothering
Ranting,
me.
Rambling.
But in regards of a bit, like building a bit.
Improv.
I guess.
It's something like that.
Whatever.
I know what you're talking about.
It's really going to piss me off. But anyway. And then literally we get out of work 2 hours later, and then within an hour he had it to me, which was pretty impressive.
Yeah.
So, but we're going to be doing that. So if you are a dot, which there's a lot of people who text me after episodes now, and like feedback, things they like.
That's awesome.
If you want to call into the show or be on the show, just reach out, because right now it's pretty open. Because James, until he's back, that seat's available. Because whenever he comes back, he's welcome. I've said that before, and I'll say that again. Because I think the 3 of us have pretty good chemistry doing the show. It's a fun
time, yeah.
I'm also going to look at maybe releasing a couple of the earlier ones. Not the only issue is like the audio. Like 9's still rough, and then it got better and better. But the content of like 7, 8, and 6, 7, and 8 was really good. So I'm gonna look at that, and maybe I can put them in and clean them up, like turn the volume up within the system.
Have we looked into a whole lot of like merch and things like that, like dot shirts? I'm a dot.
Not yet. I've done designs, but I have not yet made any. So that's another thing, like, because I don't want to do it for like one person. Like I will,
right?
But I mean, if there's enough people that would want it, I'll do a bulk order and we can get those out. There's no problem.
That'd be
or
sweet.
Like Haley makes stuff for cricket all the time. We could just make designs.
Oh, so she has a cricket.
Yeah.
Okay.
So like we could do it like that too, and just
get a lot of blank T-shirts.
Yeah, different colors and like hoodies or whatever. So might look at doing that. So that'd be pretty cool.
If we got hoodies, that would be so sweet. Well, I'd rock that.
Did I ever show you the designs I have?
I haven't seen any.
Okay, I'll show you after the show. But because like those jerseys for my groomsmen,
Yeah.
She made those.
Really?
Like, that was the Cricket.
Dude, those are sweet,
Right.
too.
Oh, yeah. People...
Those are way
awesome.
sweet.
So that's where we're at with 3-Dot stuff. Microwave guy's still working on a parody song. So one day, hopefully we'll have that. You have anything else 3-Dot related?
Not really. You're doing a great job. You're welcome.
People have said the solo shows have been improving. Like the last one was pretty smooth.
For a solo show, it was very well done.
Well, I didn't realize it was 42 minutes till I finished it. I was like, no wonder I'm like out of breath. Like I'm trying to fill time for 40 minutes
straight.
It's a lot. No, but now going into just our things. Phil, you're really excited. You're getting new frames for your glasses.
I am very excited. They're a little bit different shape, but I've kind of been wanting to do it for a couple months now. So I finally pulled the trigger, and then
what color are you going with?
They're like, it's kind of different.
Is it the blue ones that you showed me? Weren't they blue?
No, the colors are a little bit different. So I sent you the
Yeah.
frames. The shape is similar, just smaller.
Okay.
And like the bottom half is one design and the top is a little bit different.
Okay.
But it's not like
Are they like
drastic.
Elton John glasses?
No.
Oh, okay.
No, they're pretty.
Okay. Just making sure.
I mean, that'd be kind of cool.
Yeah, that would be cool.
Yeah.
Elton John's a fine man.
He's a cool guy. And then I got some. I have some sunglasses on layaway because the way my bank account is set up. I just set them to the side. They're like, "Do you want to buy these right away too?" I'm like, an extra $300 for down? No, thank you.
No, thank you. Speaking of $300, I went to renew my license about 2 weeks ago, and because it was my birthday on April 6th, and I realized when I got there, they go, "We can't give you a license." I was like, "What happened?" She goes, "You have a warrant block." Oh, what does that mean? He goes, do you have a ticket? I was like, I don't think so. And she goes, it looks like you got a ticket 3 years ago. So I had been riding around with a bench warrant out for an unpaid traffic ticket from 3 years ago. So panic immediately, and then
Wait, it was a traffic ticket. Okay.
Yeah, it was a traffic ticket, and then all I had to do was go pay it. But then the reason I had the ticket was expired tags. And then I literally had never paid attention or looked at it. I was also, at the time, drinking a lot and having some problems, using substances. And I look, and my tags hadn't been renewed for over a year. Quite some time, maybe 2. So then I had to go back to the BMV, get a license, get the warrant block removed, show them that I paid the ticket. Then go to the title agency to get a new copy of the title. Then back to the BMV to get a new plate. So I'm now all legal and everything. But after it was all told, it was a few $100.
Yeah.
When in reality, the ticket should have been just like $200, and maybe like $30 to get the tag.
Did any more get added on?
No.
For like a late. That's nice.
No. Not sure why. Because when I looked up online, like they should have charged me for like the last 2 years, like back paid me. So no, that didn't happen. Instead I got a check because I overpaid the ticket.
Oh, that's nice.
So that was good. So I got money back, but no, that was a stressful last 2 weeks.
It's a $200 ticket, but it's a $600 late fee.
I was riding around, I had no idea I had a bench warrant. Like if I would have gotten pulled over for anything, I would have been going to jail.
That's crazy.
It is crazy. I had no idea. And then literally she tells me I have a ticket. So then I look up, like where I got it at. I look up that court, and boom, there I am. It says bench warrant. It says amount owed. I'm like, holy fuck, dude! Like I had no idea. Like I could have gotten pulled over sometime and just be like, all right, what's the ticket? No, you're coming with us. You're getting booked. So yeah.
Where? I've always wanted to get booked.
That was all good. Now it's all good.
Well, I'm happy for you.
Yeah, dude, I felt so good. Like, I walked out with a new plate. I was
It's
like,
a great
oh,
relief when you get that stuff taken care
And
of.
I'd made everything like 5 or 10 years out now. So it's just
That's
like,
smart.
I'm not worrying at all about this.
See, and every time I'm like, should I really make it go this long? I'm like, yeah.
Like, my license I did for 10 years.
Nice.
I was just like, I'm not gonna...
I wanted to do
that.
the one, so when I went and got my license renewed not too long ago, they're like, all right, so for no additional charge, do you want just the license, or do you want the new license?
The compliant one?
Yeah, that's also compliant with like a passport and things like that. I was like, it's no extra money? They're like, yeah. I was like, yeah, I'll do that. Okay, all I'll need is your birth certificate and this and that. I'm like, sorry, I don't just drive around with my birth certificate
Well,
in my
that's
car.
the one thing I do know. Anytime I go to the BMV, I bring Social Security card, birth certificate,
Oh, smart.
last pay stub, tax W-2, like
That's very smart.
yeah, any, because typically for stuff like that you need two addresses,
Right.
or two proof of addresses, two identifications.
If it's different,
right,
a lot of
well,
times.
right,
Yeah,
but
right.
so anytime I go somewhere like that, I bring all that stuff.
That's why I was very surprised because I needed to get my. Well, actually, this time it was fine.
Wait, so did you not get the compliant one?
No.
Oh, okay.
So they had it in their system that my address is the correct one where it's at, but they never gave me a new license for it.
Gotcha.
So
I had the same
now
thing
they
because
finally gave
with
me
this
one
license,
with my real
since I had
address.
moved, that's why thank God I had all my forms because I had to prove the new address.
Right.
So yeah, that was a debacle on my part that has since been corrected.
Right.
But all good now.
Beautiful.
Beautiful. Also recently got my 10-month sober chip from the group.
And we did a high five for that.
We did.
It's awesome.
It is awesome.
Genuinely.
And I feel so much just better literally every day.
Good for you.
Like, it's crazy because, like, at first, like, at the very beginning, I was like, man, how am I going to just function? Because, like, the first few weeks were weird. Like, wasn't, no drinking, no substances at all.
So would you drink every day? Out of curiosity.
No. It got to a point where it was close to that.
Okay.
And then, like, towards the end, it got to the point where it was more of, like, every day.
Okay.
But in terms of, like, dab pens and stuff like that was every day, for the most part. And then, so then I had an accident at work, and then I had to take a drug test there.
Okay.
Well, I failed a drug test, and it was my second time ever failing one. So, like, if you fail one ever, it's still on your record. There. So I failed for the second time, then they sent me to Arrowhead.
Okay.
Out
like
in
facility.
Yeah.
Okay.
Which was an outpatient thing, like 6 weeks, 3 times a week, 3 hours each session. So that was a big time commitment and everything. But
so, like, is that kind of what helped you, or kind of like?
100%. Because
okay.
It was to the point where, like, every single day, I would be like, man, this has to stop. Like, knowing you're out of control. You know what I mean? Like, being like, okay, this is not good. I know this isn't good, but I literally can't stop doing it. So then it was to the point where it was either finish this program or lose your job. Mm-hmm. So then it was like, okay, like, here are actual consequences. Before it was able to brush it aside or just ignore it.
Yeah.
Which is why the ticket lasted so long. Mm-hmm. It was such a mode of just anything that happens, that didn't happen. Yeah.
Yeah.
And I remember, like, when I first had the accident, I was so pissed off because I was like, fuck, like, I know I'm about to lose my job, whatever, or I'm going to have to do this. I'm not going to be able to drink or smoke or do whatever. And then after, like, the first, like, month was super weird. Like, super weird feeling. And then after that, it was more like, thank God that happened.
Right.
Like, thank God, because something worse would have happened. You know what I mean? And, like, that really, like, saved me. And now I'm at 10 months and, like, still I feel great every single day. Whereas opposed to, like, waking up in a daze, every single day, drinking or whatever just to feel back up to normal, or smoking to feel back to normal. Or now it's just, like, that's not even a thought. And it's really a great feeling to have.
That's awesome.
And, like, I've met some great people through that program and, like, the AA and all that. And it's really interesting, too, because even if you don't necessarily think you have a problem, like, I definitely did.
Right.
Like, it was one of the things where I wouldn't tell people I did, but I knew I did. And I just needed something to finally break, and it did. And thank God it happened the way it did. But if you are in that program, or if you go to a group, like, it's just good to hear other people.
Yeah.
And, like, some of the stories you hear are wild, you know what I mean? And I sit there and I'm like, I'm lucky that I wasn't one of them.
You're not that.
Like,
right.
I was on my way to that.
Right.
Because I had, like, 10 years on and off of having a problem. And knowing, like, I have this addictive personality. I have, actual issue, genetic, whatever it might be. And this last 10 months is the first time and the longest time I've ever had like full clear mind, full sobriety. And that's just been a long journey, but a great journey to the point where everything goes fast now. Like before, it was like, oh my God, how do I get to a month?
Right.
And then it was like, I'm at 2 months. Holy shit, is this the rest of my life? You know, because all those thoughts are still there. You still have it like in your system or whatever. You're like, how do I make it 50 years? Like,
Right.
I can't do this anymore. And then you just keep pushing through it. And now it's like, I can't even imagine going back to how that was. So yeah, I just want to talk about that a little bit because
No, it's awesome.
I'm sure there's people. I'm not saying everyone out there that would hear this as a problem, but there's probably some people that have thought about it, and it helps a ton just to talk or reach out or just talk to me. Even I'm just kind of putting myself out there, like because I will say someone that listens to the podcast actually did reach out to me and said, "I've been drinking every day. Like, how are you doing what you're doing?"
Oh, that's awesome.
And it's not like patting myself on the back. I'm just saying, like, happy to be that resource for somebody.
It's awesome to feel like that somebody's actually like, hey, you're having an impact on that. Like, even just one person, like, that's awesome.
And I don't want anyone else to end up in the way I was, because it was hell.
Right.
I mean, it was hell doing that every day, you know? So, not to get heavy on the 3-Dot episode. No, but I feel like it was something that should be talked about. And it's our lives. So, I mean, I'd rather talk about it than just ignore it and be like, oh, no, I'm not drinking, here's why.
Yeah.
Like,
no, and more recently, and I mean, this isn't the same, but like, more recently, I would say I had a stint to where I was drinking more, and it was probably like a 1-month stint, but it's like to where I was drinking more than I ever had. And not to the point where I wasn't drinking every day, and I'm very much a social drinker.
Right.
I'll never have a drink alone.
Right.
But it was when I had the cancer scare, and it's like when I didn't know anything. So I'm just kind of like in a constant state of freaking out.
Right.
And Lauren was initially like, all right, well, what do you want to do? Like every single day, just trying to keep my mind off of it. Like, what do you want to just hang at the house? And I would just always say, I don't think that hanging out at the house is a good call right now, because then it's all that I'm going to be thinking about.
Right.
And when it's all that I'm thinking about, it's just like sad. So I'm like, we need to go out. I don't care if it's just us or if we get friends. But I'm like, as bad as it sounds, I was like, I need to drink.
Right.
Just because I'm like, I'm freaked out.
Right.
And I'm like, I don't want to.
Like,
and I don't want to think
where
about
you had
it.
to get outside your own head.
Right.
Yeah.
Exactly.
That was also a big thing for me, too, because when I was first starting out, I was like, I just need plans. Because, like, if I'm alone, that's when I would go buy something or drink or do whatever. I just need, even if it's just calling someone, talking for an hour, or, all right, what, you want to go hang out? Like, we used to go walk around Kroger. Go do anything to just be outside the house. Because the other part is you got to change entire behaviors.
Yeah.
Because, like, then I changed the way I went to work for a while. Because, like, there was a place I would always stop. So I was like, okay, for a while, let's mix it up.
Switch that up. Yeah.
Right. Because then if you're going down the same road, you're used to that same habit. And then even if you don't do it, it hits your mind of, oh, that's where I used to do that. Mm-hmm. Now I want to do it. And then now you're toying with something. Whereas if you go a different way, that doesn't necessarily come up at all. Mm-hmm. You might think, oh, I'm doing this because of that. But it's not the same as, oh, it's right there. That kind of thing. But yeah, it's just interesting, and it's something where I feel like it could potentially help someone, like it already has. Like, reach out. If anyone has an issue, reach out to you or I. Mm-hmm. And not to be like all PSA about it, but it's true, because it becomes hell. Even if you're not there yet, if you think there's an issue, it will become one. Mm-hmm.
And I've gotten to the point where it's like a couple times in a row of like drinking with friends, and it's not like days in a row, but a couple times in a row where I got out of hand, and I like looked at Lauren, I was like, do I have a problem? And she had looked at me, and she didn't like look down on me or whatever by putting it that way. She's like, you're acknowledging that what you did last night was a problem,
Right.
and was a mistake. You're not continuously going out and
Right.
doing it again
Right.
and again. She said,
That's true. That's a big defining.
yeah, she was like, if you were to keep doing that, I would say that you have a problem.
Right.
She's like, but you acknowledge this, and you just need to
recognize it.
not do that
Right.
every time.
No, and I'll just sum it up with when I was going to my psychologist before the accident happened, and I had been telling him I need to quit, and then I'd see him the next week. Have you stopped? No. Have you made progress? No.
No. I thought about it.
Well, and then kept talking about the fear of zero. Like, am I the type of person where I can't have anything at all? And what does that look like? And he's like, well, you have to get to that point to find out, where you're at. And then the accident happened, and I went to him, and I told him what happened, and he's like, well, zero's here now. And I'm like, yes, it is. And then it was just building on that. So, I mean, talking to someone helped to try to get me ready, and then the accident really forced me into it. But both of those things, I think, for anyone that has an issue, start there, and have a good support system too.
Yeah, definitely.
Because like big shout out to James. When I was first getting sober, we went to an Ohio State game, or it was a little bit after, but we went to an Ohio State game together. And I remember telling him like, no, like I'm good, like to go here, like no problem, and you can drink, like no issue, because I don't want anyone else to feel like they can't. But like, if we went to the concession stand, he wouldn't let me go alone, just in case.
Yeah,
I would try to sneak a beer or something, because I made a joke about it. But then he was like, okay, if you're joking about it, I'm not gonna no, like shut the fuck up. So like, same thing happened at a bar when we went to meet you at Mommy.
Yeah.
He had already got his drink. He came back. I went up, and then he went up just to make sure I didn't order a beer. And I wasn't going to.
Yeah.
But like, you still have those thoughts. Like I still do. And but it was just like really cool. Like this guy cares and isn't gonna let me fuck something up. Even whether I was going to or not, he was being extra protective about it.
Right.
So big shout out to James.
Yeah, that's awesome. And I felt horrible because there were numerous times where I forgot that you were like sober. and there was one time that I texted you, and I forget exactly what it was that happened. I think I had a bad day at work.
Oh yeah, go ahead.
And I texted you, and I was like, and I said, Nick, I need to drink so bad right now, man. I said, can you come out and meet me? And you responded, you said, Phil, you have no idea how long I have been waiting for you to send me that text. But when you do is when I'm sober. And then it hit me. I was like, oh, son of a bitch. I was like, I am so sorry, dude. I'm not even thinking about it. I was like, if I would have been thinking about that, I wouldn't have texted you.
That was a great moment. But no, that's the other thing too. Like I don't want someone to not text me or whatever.
Treat you different. Yeah.
So we'll wrap that up. But I just wanted to talk about that because it was a 10-month one, kind of a big milestone.
Yeah.
So
proud of you.
You fuck. Huge. Dude. Massive. We need video. God damn it. We were having sex.
Just a tip.
What do you want to go into here? Do you have anything on the baseball Scherzer thing?
I just thought it was kind of interesting. What do you think about it, considering you've played baseball? So what are your thoughts?
I mean, at that level, I have no idea what goes on. You know what I mean? Like, I know a lot of guys were caught using substances on their hands to make it better grip and stuff and faster RPMs. But Scherzer, I don't think has ever been a guy accused of that.
Right.
And I saw he was recently on a podcast talking about other people using it. Mm-hmm. And then he gets dinged the next day. And I also saw the umpire that ejected him has been the same one that has ejected all three guys this year. It's just interesting because, like, he said it was sweat and rosin.
Right.
And Trevor Bauer did a video. He was a former MLB guy. Showing how sticky that combination can be. Mm-hmm. And it's like, if you're an umpire, how can you not differentiate between a guy who's got pine tar or spider tack or whatever on his hand,
someone who's sweating,
and someone who's sweating rosin? And I don't think Scherzer has ever been accused of anything like that before. I could be wrong. And he's been a top pitcher for a long time. He's one
A
of the
very
few.
long time.
He's one of the few guys where I'd be like, he doesn't need it. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
he's shown that he's that talented. But they also said Garrett Cole was doing the same thing, and he's been a top guy for a few years now. So I don't really know what to make of it. I don't think Scherzer did it. I think the Yankee dude did it, who got caught, because they showed the umpire checking his hands and saying, "You need to wash your hands before you come back out here." Then he comes out and it was like sticky again. So and that's in between
That would
innings where
trigger
someone's
it.
probably
Yeah,
in the
right.
dugout putting something on their hand. Scherzer, I don't know. That was after an inning.
So I was curious, just asking you, having experience being a pitcher, what does like the stickiness just so like the ball doesn't slip out?
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah, and it's also, in a way, it's a safety thing too, because you don't want a guy throwing 95 not able to control the ball, and
Right.
now he's hitting people in the head.
Right.
But yeah, it's also just so you can't throw any off-speed pitches because you're slipping out of your
Right.
hand. Really, there's a lot of reasons for it, but safety's definitely one of them. And like a lot of guys use the rosin bag, and that's never been a problem. But now because they're overly cautious about the pine tar and stuff, like if I don't know what you do, like we're gonna get to the point where you have to have like a test to find out what
Right.
exactly is on the hand. But I just thought it was really weird that Scherzer got ejected and 3 guys got ejected by the same umpire.
Somebody needs to come out with a new like similar to what the XFL is. They need to come out with that for baseball, where they allow steroids, they allow
Like old
the pine
Slugfest
tar,
games.
all of
Did
that.
you ever play that Slugfest?
I never played Slugfest. I played
was
that
great
Blitz
'cause
the League a couple
It was
times.
it was that for baseball.
Okay.
It was very similar. Blitz was so fun. That was the best
Right.
arcade game.
It was
ever. I used to just play Blitz nonstop.
NFL Blitz the arcade was my favorite
phenomenal.
game. And then when Blitz the League came out, I started playing, and I'm just a kid, and it's like, hey, just rest it and you're out 6 weeks, or take steroids and you're out 6 plays. I was like, 6 plays every time, of course.
They should have that. Quit trying to act like you run a clean game.
And it legit like shows the bones breaking when they would get hit. I was like, this is awesome.
This is great.
This is great.
That was like a Skate and Skate 2. You ever play those games?
Yes.
And
Those were great
and
games.
you could just see how much bad of an injury you could get, and you would look at the X-ray, and you're just everything's shattered. Those were fun games.
You would get as much air as you could and then just make your
Jump
guy
off.
bail.
Skate 2 is one of my favorite games of all time.
That was so
That was
fun.
a great game. I might still have it. I might have to throw that in. The old
So
Xbox
much
One.
fun.
I skating and skateboarding is one of the things that like I've never done or been able to do, but it just seems so cool. Like it just seems so awesome.
My extent of skateboarding was standing on the board and kicking down my driveway, and I'm like, well, that was a
Same.
good time.
I was like, yeah, this is great.
This is
I'm
sweet.
sick.
I'm so good at this.
Any NBA basketball? Have you been watching the playoffs?
Not really, even though my team's in it. I've kind of just...
Because you are a 76ers fan.
I am.
What do you make of Embiid flopping constantly?
I can't say I've really been watching. Everybody flops in the NBA at this
True,
point.
but
so it's
I
kinda
feel like if you're
disgusting.
7 foot
Oh, I
and
agree.
the guard barely touches you and you fall to half court.
I agree. It's stupid.
I have the same thing. One series I have been watching closely is the Kings Warriors, because I really like
I've
this
been paying
Kings team.
attention to it. Yeah.
Really like the Kings team. Really not a fan of the Warriors. But Sabonis is the same way. Their center.
Oh,
Dude,
yeah.
if he
yeah.
gets touched, he falls and
Just
collects.
gets
I
fired.
hate it, dude.
Yeah.
It makes it hard to watch, but Curry does the same thing.
And
like
that's
if Curry
partially
gets,
what...
I get it's part of the game, but like if Curry gets touched on a screen, he throws
Yeah.
his arms, throws his back out.
It's partially why I can't watch the league anymore.
It's tough,
Mm-hmm.
but like De'Aaron Fox is awesome. He's really
he's
fun to
great.
watch. And Malik
And,
Monk,
yeah.
when Malik Monk was hot,
two
those
are
first 2
great.
games, oh my god, this dude was incredible.
Yeah.
He had one where he did a spin and pulled up from 3, and I was like, give him the title right now. Just give these
These
kids.
guys are great.
Let
him cook.
Let him cook for sure. But like, it is weird because like the Warriors are never out of it. You know what I
Right.
mean? Like Kings went 2-0, right?
Kings kind of came
Yeah,
out
the
of
Kings went
nowhere.
2-0.
Yeah.
And they're young. They're really
they're
young.
very
They're
young.
built. And they have a good coach because Mike Brown's their coach now. But it's just interesting because like you watch this Kings team and they're really good, really fast. But then the Warriors can go on just a 15-0 run like it's
Right.
nothing. They still have that in them.
I'm not a Cleveland fan by any means. But it does kind of make me feel good seeing the Cavs be
Relevant.
good again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Mitchell, Mobley,
Yeah.
those guys. Yeah. Did you see the Steven Jackson podcast talking about LeBron?
I didn't. I do enjoy listening to Steven Jackson
I don't
here and
love
there.
their podcast, but like some of them are good. Like I'm just not a big fan of all their stuff, but I just thought it was interesting. He said, LeBron's struggling because scouting reports have caught up, and like they're figuring him out. I'm like, this dude is 38 years old.
Right. That's why
He's dominated the
slowing
league.
down.
Regardless of how you feel about him, been one of the most dominant players in the league for all of those years.
Right.
And now the scouting reports are
Right.
catching up. If you want to say he's losing a step, or he's got better teammates he's deferring, or he just doesn't have it in him anymore,
Right.
those are all relevant. But to say that scouting reports are the reason for his...
It only took you
struggle.
20 years to catch on the
Right.
scouting reports.
Right.
Right.
That just cracked me
That's
up.
ridiculous.
Phil, let's go to your mock draft.
All right.
Or do you want to talk about the suspension first?
We can talk about the suspension first because I haven't pulled up
gambling
right here.
in the NFL.
Yeah.
You said 4 Lions
4 Lions.
and like one other player, right? Or 2?
Yeah. I don't know who
Were
the other
suspended
guy
for
was.
gambling while in a team facility or playing or
Yeah.
on team time, which is illegal. They can gamble outside of facility stuff, correct or no?
Correct. So
as long as they're not on a team plane, team bus, team facility,
correct.
they can't place a bet on anything.
Correct. And they can't can't bet on NFL games.
Right. Yeah, that's fair. Yeah.
Yep.
Because who's the one that got suspended
So
forever? No. I'm saying
so there were
Ridley.
two.
No, I'm saying.
Calvin Ridley just got a year, so he's back this year.
But was he gambling on NFL or was he gambling?
I think so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Go ahead.
And so it's James.
Where's this article from? Let's be professional.
This is mlive.com.
Okay.
So like Detroit. This is Detroit Sports.
I just wanted to get the name.
And
in
it's
there.
Jamison Williams and a receiver Stanley Berryhill. He must have just been strictly a practice squad player because I've never even heard of him. They were both suspended 6 games for betting non-NFL games on their cells just at the team facility.
Okay.
But then Quintez Cephas, who was drafted the same year as Okuda, him and special teams player C.J. Moore, they were both suspended indefinitely and cut from the team because they were betting on NFL games.
Okay. So a couple things with that.
I think I'd take that 1 point back. Cephas was a year before Okuda, I believe.
Thank you for clearing that up.
You're welcome.
So, first of all, why is that a thing? You know what I mean? If you're not betting on the NFL, they should be able to do whatever they want.
Yep.
Secondly, how did they catch them and know when they placed the bets?
Because they were on the team Wi-Fi.
And they tracked it.
Yeah. So, but this is my confusion. So I'm like,
Who checked it? Like, you know what I mean? Like,
I don't know.
Like, does every NFL player have something where it's like, oh, we know their DraftKings name?
I would just guess that every NFL team, probably on the private Wi-Fi, probably knows
Tracks
who's
it.
on it. That's what I would guess.
Or tracks gambling specifically or something. I don't know how that side of it works.
I just think it's because I'm like, okay, so literally, if he was off the team Wi-Fi and just using mobile data,
Yeah, if he just turned on data, he would have been fine.
Or if he was 5 feet off of the property, that would have been fine.
So
I find that ridiculous. But also,
go ahead.
one more thing. I find it hilarious that the NFL is making all of these millions and millions of dollars off of legal sports gambling now, but they're still, oh, you did that? You're out for a year. Meanwhile, you're a player with domestic violence or anything like that, and you're out 2 games.
Right.
And then you're back.
Right. That is true. It depends on who you are, apparently.
Yeah,
caliber
definitely.
of player. I think it's a dumb rule and everything, but if you're a player and you know that's the rule, I'm not even saying they shouldn't do it. Why do you not have, like, someone you trust where you can just place your bets through them?
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, why is there no one, like, in the facility even, a staff member, where you can go, hey, can you set up an account and I'll front the bets?
I'll just tell you what to do.
Right. Like,
right.
And maybe they have something against that too, which I'm sure they do, because that's just a workaround. But in general, I just don't. If there is a workaround, why is that a rule? If it's a rule, why are you not working around it? All of it, the whole thing, I don't get.
Right.
If it's not NFL, if you're betting NFL, even if it's not your team, I do get that because they all they talk, they have
Right.
communication. There's some sort of insider information possible there. No problem. But if you're betting on a completely different sport, why the hell do you care?
Right.
Especially if there's an ad in the facility for FanDuel or whatever the hell it is.
And I'm not trying to be a homer at all because I've been saying the whole time I'm like, that's a stupid rule. But then at the same time, Williams knew about it. It's in his contract.
Right.
He still shouldn't have done it. But at the same time,
get off the fucking Wi-Fi.
Right, exactly. If a 29-year-old, 5'6" dude who has no NFL ability can be, I was about to, and is sitting on a couch, and I'm just like, dude, you should have just got off the Wi-Fi.
Right.
What are you doing?
Then why are
these guys?
If that's probably true, there probably is something against that too. There's a way they track it because it can't be that easy. There's no way they fucked up something that simple.
Right.
Because if they, maybe it was one of those fades where he automatically joined the Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
So
and
he placed a
didn't know
bet
it.
and he was like, "Oh shit!
Back.
Cancel."
Then he went to HR. Hey guys, somebody stole my phone, and they.
Why did he say that? How would they prove that? Why would you not say that? Why would you not say someone was messing? My kid was playing on my phone, and the backstop would put 50,000 on the ton.
Well, because we tracked the GPS, and it was inside the facility. Yeah, I know. Somebody in here sold it.
Another player on the team. I'm not naming names. Just put $20,000 on a college game. What the fuck?
Khalif Raymond's after my job. He's a fringe roster player.
Oh, dude, if I was a backup, I would so steal a starter's phone and start placing mad bets. Coach, I think he's gambling. No, I'm not. It just goes to his history. 20 bets placed in.
He just put $150,000 on Chicago, and that's who we're playing this weekend. But of course, my mindset went to, of course, the year I buy season tickets, Jameson Williams is out the first 6 games.
Right. And people were picking the Lions, too.
Right.
Excited. It's exciting. No, I'm not. I'm just saying it's exciting to be a Lions fan right now.
No, I know it is. And that's my thing, because it's like, at first I was like, oh, we're screwed. But then at the same time, I was like, dude, Jameson Williams had 1 catch last year.
Right.
And
he's a good bonus, but he's not the team yet.
Exactly.
I mean, yeah.
But I do think that will make it more. It makes it more likely that the Lions will take a receiver early in the draft. I could very much see it.
Who do you want?
If we could get him in like the 2nd round, I wouldn't be mad at like that.
JSN.
Well, he's sweet, but if we could get him with our 2nd first rounder, I'd definitely take him. But is that Addison? Because I think he's like
Jordan Addison?
I think he's like 6'4".
The Penn State dude?
Yeah, and we need like a big guy. And
Get Calvin back.
That'd be
Bring
sweet.
Megatron back.
Bring him back.
Let's go into your mock draft.
Yes. So which one specifically are you
just
interested
go through
in?
your
Just go
first
through
and then
it?
your second and tell us why some changes. Because I haven't done any mocks. I'm behind on draft research.
Okay.
Besides Stroud.
So I'll be honest. I made a couple changes. I deleted my first one.
Okay.
So I think I sent it to you, but I deleted the first one. But in the second one, my first 4 picks actually stayed the same, with Bryce Young going to the Carolina. The Carolina. Stroud to the Texans, which now, hearing what DeMeco Ryans is saying, sounds like that might not even happen, which I'm still not buying.
What did you say? What happened?
Apparently, they're making it sound like DeMeco Ryans is wanting to take Will Anderson.
Okay.
But in my eyes, I'm like, okay, I get you have a 2nd first round pick, but very well, Levis, obviously Stroud, and Young, and Anthony Richardson, in my opinion, all 4 of those are going to be gone. So are you going to take Hendon Hooker at 12?
No.
And I don't think you're going to do that. And so I have Young, Stroud, Will Anderson to Carolina, Anthony Richardson to Indy, solely just because that's what a lot of people have been talking about.
Right.
And then I had Jalen Carter going to Seattle, which is one thing I had changed because I had Detroit lined up with him, but I have Detroit taking Tyree Wilson from Texas Tech. because I heard that the Lions would only take Jalen Carter if Brad Holmes, the GM, Dan Campbell, the head coach, and Sheila Ford Hamp, the owner, all said yes. Like, could all agree on it. And really, for any player, to get 3 yeses over anyone else is pretty
Jalen
high.
Carter is one of those where I have no idea if he's going to be the best player in this draft or the biggest bust.
Right.
And I think it could easily go either way.
And it's either going to be one or the other.
Right.
I don't think it's going to be... Yes. No, you're right.
Thank you, Phil.
And apparently, Seattle's infatuated with him. So that's why I said
I feel like
Seattle's
a guy like that has to
him.
go to a good coach and a good structured organization.
Right.
I don't know, because, like, D tackle's rough, too, because, like, if he's not in shape and he's playing, like, 2 downs, you know what I mean? Or, like,
right.
Is that worth a top 5 pick, necessarily? Maybe.
Right.
But, because if he turns out to be an absolute animal, then anchor at the defensive line, 100% worth it. Or like
I know
the Lions,
exactly what you mean, though.
Or like if the Lions, like if you could plug him into what you already have, that's different. You're not relying on him to be the whole thing because you have Aiden Hutchinson and
Mm-hmm.
So we'll see. I don't know. I can see him being a good fit with the Lions or the Seattle. I like either of those places for him.
Yeah, I do too.
Anything else just interesting? We won't go through the whole.
Oh, let me see here.
Or any other big changes.
I didn't have like a whole lot of big changes. I have Will Levis going to the Jets.
You think Rodgers, and then they take him, or what?
Truth be told, I wasn't even thinking about that.
Yeah, because if they have,
I should probably
if
change
that deal
that,
gets done and they
I?
take Rodgers,
Right,
or if they get Rodgers,
then that'd be probably some. Well, honestly, Rodgers might only be there for 1 year.
I know. Well, that's why that's an interesting pick to keep an eye on.
So I guess that could change. Even if he didn't get taken there, I think New England would take him. Because they've apparently been shopping Mac Jones. Been trying to get rid of him.
Oh, where do you have JSN going?
I have him going to Houston, paired with
Stroud. And is he your top receiver off the board?
Yes, he is. And then I had Lions taking Brian Branch at 18, just because since they recently traded Okuda, and the CJ Moore was one of their special team safeties. He was like one of the fill-in safeties. So I thought Brian Branch
replace that spot and upgrade it if you can. Yeah,
exactly. So that was my kind of thing. I have Dallas taking Bijan.
I saw that. Yeah. I like that pick.
And I mean, outside of that, there's not really a whole lot of crazy stuff.
Do you know who you're going to pick in fantasy? Do you have a first-round pick?
I think I do.
Because you tried to trade it.
Yeah,
famously in one of the greatest non-trades in the history of fantasy football.
So relieved that got vetoed.
That was such a controversy. I might have one. Maybe when we get closer to fantasy season,
bring that back.
Well, we're going to talk about it, but I'll release those episodes because first of all, the first few are rough. Like we were bad. We were really bad at recording, and the content wasn't great. It wasn't smooth, but that trade and your reaction when we called you was phenomenal. Also, when Murph's brother called in, that was great. When Murph called in about the dog, that was great. So, like, maybe I'll clip them and just do clips. That might be better. But yeah, I'll look at doing that. So that's it for Phil's mock, and he will continue to work on it and update us as we get closer. Or no, the draft's coming up.
Yeah, I think this is going to be my final mock.
Even with the Rodgers trade, we'll leave this pick.
We'll just leave it.
Oh, fuck it.
It's one pick.
Let it ride.
Yeah, exactly. Because honestly, I stay by what I said. I mean, I get it. If they take Rodgers, if they get Rodgers, they probably won't draft him that high. But if it's not done before the draft, who's to say that they would be like, well, we're not going to be stuck.
We gotta get something.
We're not going to be stuck with Zach Wilson for another year.
100%.
So
from the NFL to some college topics, C.J. Stroud. There's been a lot of talk about him. Brady Quinn was reporting that he bailed on a Peyton Manning camp and was hard to work with and all that, which turned out not to be true. Like fact checkers,
really,
yeah. Wow. Like, but it's just interesting because that happens. Then this S2 score thing happened, which is like the Wonderlic test I was telling you before the pod, and they released Stroud's had like 18%, and all the other top quarterbacks were 70 or higher, or 60 or higher. But then the creator of the tests, came out on a podcast and said that's out of context and that's not accurate. So I don't know what's going on. It seems like people are trying to tank his stock or whatever. Um, but I just find that weird because, like, regardless of a test, that shouldn't be enough to sway you because he played Georgia, which was the best defense in the country last year, put up a ton of yards, ton of points. The guy can play. Like,
Right.
What are we adding all this other test stuff for? Ohio State beat reporters suck. Dude, I hate it because, like, I just hate because I'm someone who at least once every other day will Google Ohio State and click on news.
Yeah.
Just
Okay.
for any updates, any articles, whatever. When the Brian Hartline thing happened, where he had that accident on his ATV or whatever, a gator, whatever it was, literally every single article, like 20 articles from every site that covers Ohio State, Brian Hartline in accident, Brian Hartline in accident, same like 2-paragraph story. What the fuck are we doing? Like, why?
Hey man, I saw that you wrote this. Do you mind if I take it?
I just don't get it. Like, what are you doing? Like,
Yeah, I don't get
either
it.
cover it a different way or don't cover it. It's been covered. You don't need 20 different. Like, do something different. Why does that not exist? And that was originally what wanted me to start blogs, is put something else out there.
Yeah, something
rather
that's
than
different.
just generic bullshit. And also, if you're one of the true like fan coverage sites, why would you blow that story up?
Right.
Like, and that's, whether it's ethical or not. Why would you promote a story and be like, oh, there could be trouble?
Yep.
Like,
Trouble in paradise.
If you don't know that,
Right.
why would you report it? And if you're reporting an accident,
Yeah.
you don't need, if you are about to post your fucking blog and you see 5 of the same articles already there, oh no, we're gonna get some views too.
Yeah.
Why? Like, that infuriates me. Same thing if a recruit commits, what this commit means for Ohio State, how this recruit changes the commitment process. It's all the same stuff, and it blows my mind. And it's just like, why is there no original takes or content or something else out there for that big of a program? It doesn't make sense to me.
I mean, I'd put money on it. A lot of those beat reporters are there's going to be certain readers that are like cult following to only their beat reporter.
Right.
So that beat reporter was probably like, I mean, these 7 people already read about it, but I have to do it for my readers, right? Because they have to know about it, and so.
But a story like that too, it's all over Twitter, it's everywhere.
Oh, yeah.
Like, there's need to fucking.
You're not wrong.
It just doesn't make sense.
It needs to be designated to one writer, and you have to find that writer. If you can't find that writer, tough luck.
I meant to do it. We're gonna look at trying to contact one of the beat reporters and call them and ask them the motivation behind writing a 2-paragraph article that's already published.
Please do that.
I'm gonna do that. We're gonna. I might do that next episode.
Just find their number.
You can. Some of them you can.
Don't tell them what it's for. Just because. Can I get a comment from you on your article? I was thinking
what we would do is maybe have you or James or whoever's in studio call them and be like, hey, can you do 5 minutes for the show? And then you act like the producer, link them in, put it on speaker, and then I talk to them as if we're a radio show.
That'd be pretty good.
I think it'd be good.
That'd be hilarious.
So we're gonna look at doing that and send that up. I might do a trial run with a Denny's. We'll see.
Let's do it right now.
Call Denny's?
Call Denny's.
Call Denny's and ask them what they think of the Brian Hartline incident?
Yes. I think it's a good place to start.
They're on it.
And let's be honest, if you work at Denny's, you're probably a big sports fan.
Is that true? Maybe Buffalo Wild Wings would be better.
Maybe.
Or Frickers.
You could hang up and call them.
We're sorry.
I bet I'm blocked from calling them about the egg prices.
I think B-dubs, you'd be more likely to find somebody who's an actual sports fan.
That's true, but let's see here. I'm gonna call. We're calling a shopping market in Columbus.
Oh, beautiful. In Columbus, that makes it that much better.
That's what I'm saying.
I'm excited.
Thank you for calling
Oh.
Site Centers. Our offices are currently closed.
Oh, yeah, sure
man,
they are.
Of course
They
are.
knew this
Yeah.
was coming.
They definitely
That's
knew.
exactly what was
They're
going
like,
on
guys,
here.
it's
Here's what we
Saturday
need. Oh, how about a pizza place in
Columbus.
Columbus.
It's got to be in Columbus. A chiropractor?
What's the difference between a pizza place and a chiropractor?
And there's not a whole lot. One's breaking backs. The other's cashing checks.
Breaking backs?
Maybe fixing them.
Hi there. Thanks for calling Donato's, where we believe that every piece is important.
Who automates a pizza delivery? What the fuck is going on? Is everything closed today? Is there some holiday I'm not aware
You
of?
probably just had to wait, and then you say, if you want to order a pizza.
Yeah, but I don't want to order a pizza.
I know.
I don't want them to think I want to order a pizza.
Well, you could have. Who's a high profile Columbus business?
Canes? That's
Condado.
not Columbus. Condado, that's not.
It was in Columbus. I think that's the first time I had it. Was in Columbus. Let's call the Columbus Blue Jackets, and call them.
See what they say.
See what they say.
Hi there. Thank you for calling the Canes on High. How can we help you?
Yeah, I just had a quick question for you. What do you make of this whole Brian Hartline ATV accident?
I'm sorry, what's that?
The Brian Hartline, the offensive coordinator for Ohio State.
Did you need to place an order?
Oh no! I just wanted your opinion on this because the
Oh,
beat
yeah,
reporters,
right now. Have a great
the
day.
beat reporters keep. Oh, see, they're covering it up. This is bullshit. This is absolute bullshit. He's worried about Flynn and chicken fingers.
That was immature on his part.
That really was. God forbid he do his job.
You you have to deal with the media at that. If you're in charge of answering the phones,
Right.
I mean,
Is that public relations?
Yeah, right.
What? The dot army.
Yeah.
Tweet at Canes.
what if the mayor wanted to get you for a comment?
Can we call the mayor?
We could call the mayor.
Can we call the
Let's
mayor's
try
office?
to call the mayor's office. Let's see what happens. I'm sorry. Did you want to place an order? No, I
No.
just wanted to get your comment on
The
this.
beat reporters do not understand.
He goes. Well, then why'd you call this number? I go. It's not my fault that you didn't have a menu to tell me what
I
button.
wish
to-
the shopping market would have answered because that's more of a. It's not as fast paced. Like the Canes
Yeah.
guy, he's got people in line.
Right.
I understand that. I respect that.
On a Saturday in the
Yeah.
afternoon, he's probably
busy. He's probably
yeah.
neck deep in cane sauce.
You know the DMV, they're probably
yeah, those are
pretty
nice
open,
people. Yeah. No, so that was a good trial run because we haven't done calls in a while.
When
so
I
we
went
will
to the
get back
DMV,
that.
I was extremely frustrated because they did my vision test and I could see it, but she told me to go way too low, and she's like, "You need to put your hand up if it's flashing." And then I put my head up a little bit. I was like, "Oh, okay, I see it now." Well, we have to redo the entire test. I'm like,
It's
"All
just
right."
2 minutes. What
Yeah,
does she care?
I'm like, "All right, lady, that's fine. We can redo the test. Don't get mad at me that you have a full-grown mustache."
Jesus.
She did though.
Which BMV did you go to?
Sylvania.
Oh, really? The
Yeah.
McCord?
Yep.
That's where I went.
Really?
Yeah.
Yeah.
They were really nice there. Which lady was it? Because I dealt with all of them this past 2 weeks.
All the way out. Well, she had a pretty big mustache. All the way to the left.
1 or 6? Which one's on the left, 6 on the right?
1.
The older lady?
I don't know how old she was. She didn't seem crazy old. Like I said.
Does she look like Mrs. Overmeyer from White House Elementary? I know you didn't go there. But...
Yeah, I don't know what she looks like.
Anyway, now that we've done all that, there was another article they put out that was the 3D projection for Ohio State's lineup.
Okay.
Disagree with all of it. First of all, it had
Including the starters?
a couple of them because it had Hicks and Styles, I believe second string, which I think is accurate to start, but I don't think that one's minor. But there was one where they had, I think they had Fleming starting and Ballard behind them. The biggest issue with the receivers is they had Harrison on the outside and someone else in the slot. When it's been well documented that Marvin Harrison's going to be running in the slot. It's just minor things of not paying attention that really bother me because if it's your job to cover it, I get it's a minor thing, but
Right.
if it's your job, it's your fucking job to cover the team. That's a small thing you can't fuck up.
Right.
And then it had multiple players on there that I'm pretty sure are going to be transferring out. So it's just weird to put it out this early and then
Right.
have inaccuracies along it. I also, because Ohio State's over the scholarship limit, and there's 1 or 2 guys they're trying to get the transfer in. So a few of these guys are going to be told, we don't really have a spot for you.
Right.
If you want to play, you're going to be better off somewhere else, which is responsible on both ends.
Right.
So I think a few of these guys are going to leave. I also saw people saying Fleming would leave, but I don't think that happens. He's been there for like 5 years now. I feel like he's going to stay. There's 3. What? Why are you smiling?
Nothing.
Okay.
I'm still thinking of the Gaines guy.
We should call him back.
We should call it back.
But there's three receivers that are stuck. I talked about this last week. There's the Marvin Harrison, Fleming, Igbuka, Ballard, then the freshmen Tate, Ennis, Noah Rogers, Bryson Rogers. There's 3 guys in between there that were 4 stars: Kerryon Graves, Caleb Brown, and Kojo Antwi. I feel like those 3 guys will leave. You know what I mean? I don't think it's going to be Fleming, who's already been there, put in the time, and started last year.
Right.
And then there's freshmen behind him. I think those 3 guys are more likely to leave. Fleming could, but I don't see that happening. It just infuriates me. Like, I think Fleming will leave. He might not play. Okay, what about the 3 guys who haven't even seen the field yet and have freshmen coming in behind them? What about them?
Right.
Like, wouldn't they be more likely to get out of here with years of eligibility left? So that's it for that. I can't do it anymore. Some recruiting updates. Top tackle from next year is visiting Ohio State, so that's always good. The top running back, or number 2 running back from this year, is visiting Ohio State soon, because we already have the number 5, so that'd be pretty big to bring both of them in. And then we're crystal balled for 2 corners that I've been talking about. I believe it's Aaron Scott and Bryce West, 2 Ohio corners, both 4 stars. So that would be huge. Also, just a minor thing. I don't know if we would go after them, but there's 2 I've talked about before. The Georgia transfers. There's one on D line, Bear, Alexander, D tackle, and then a corner just announced today. They're leaving, so it's kind of weird. Georgia's having a lot of people taking off. And Notre Dame wide receiver / corner Lorenzo Styles Jr. is transferring. He's actually, I believe I read, the brother of Sonny Styles, who's an Ohio State player.
That's interesting.
So it'll be interesting to see if we go after him. I don't know if that's really... Like, he's not going to play wide receiver. Like, there's too much talent there. Corner, we just brought in a safety and a corner in the transfer portal over the offseason. So I'm not sure if that's someone we'd go for, but it would be a tie-in. It might be an easier route to try to get a guy like that. And then we are still working on the A&M tackle and another tackle and try to bring them in. I had 2 listeners submitted questions about Ohio State based off last episode. So shout out to Cody, one of our dots. He wants to know who for Ohio State is the biggest has to be a dog for him to have success this year. Like, has to be dominant. I think the easy answer would be to say McCord, the quarterback. I think that's the easiest one, but I also don't think he necessarily has to be this year. There's so much talent around him. I would say the biggest one is left and right tackle. And if it stays the way it is, it'll be, I believe, Joe Royer. Because I always get him mixed up. I think it's Royer, or Royer might be a tight end. But I think Royer's Josh Fryer at tackle and Tegra Teshabola at the other tackle. They have to be
Heck
dogs.
of a name.
Great name. But, like, we have Donovan Jackson and Matt Jones on the interior. These 2 guys on the outside need to hold up and give McCord time. I think it's more important that they are dominant for the run game and to give McCord time back there to feel comfortable until he gets his feet under him.
You know that I'm not much of a... I don't keep up with Ohio State all that much. Is McCord more of a pocket or a scrambler?
Definitely more pocket, but he can run. Right. Devin Brown's the same way. It's similar to Stroud, but I think McCord has a little more instinct for the run, which I know I talked about it a long time ago when the championship happened, but Stroud could have ran all year. Like, in that Georgia game, he showed it.
Right.
Like, I think they might learn from that and let McCord run a little bit more. But he's definitely more of a pocket passer, like, naturally. But I think the most important thing is the tackles, especially on offense. The tackles to help the run game, which will be leaned upon more, and give McCord time. Then on the defensive side, I already think JTT and Sawyer and Hall and Williams and the young guys behind them are all going to be great. I already know the linebackers, they're both been starting for a few years. They're going to be great. I think Hicks and Styles will be great. I think the biggest thing is that transfer that came in, Davison Nigbumson from Ole Miss. I think it's most important that him and Denzel Burke are dogs at corner. Because what happened last year was we'd give up big plays, getting beat. If we can have two guys, or at least one that's locked down and one that's pretty good, make the quarterback take an extra second, we get more sacks. Because there was a lot of times last year where we'd be a half second away from getting the quarterback.
Right. And you know me, like I said, I really only watch the big games for Ohio State. But when I watched the Michigan game, those guys were running wide open. The Michigan receivers.
Get the fuck out. I'm kidding.
Sure.
I'm kidding. And then the other question he had was the biggest threat to Ohio State this year. I did see a tweet that the top betting favorites for the national title. Do you know who they are?
App State. I have no idea.
Georgia, Alabama, and Ohio State. And Ohio State's currently ranked number 1 preseason.
I did see that.
So, I think...
The Big Ten's got a strong showing. I did see all those preseason rankings.
It's also big because Fickle's in Wisconsin now. Luke Fickle.
Oh, yeah.
So that'll be big. Maybe not this year, but going forward. But the biggest threat... just real quick about those 3 favorite teams. I did see all 3 of them have a quarterback that's had under 70 either snaps or attempts. So it was interesting that they're all favorites.
For sure.
Yeah. So it's going to be who can progress their quarterback the fastest. But the biggest threat, Michigan, obviously. Huge. They're built to beat us. They're built to try to win the Big Ten. I think that's a big threat, not our biggest, because it's someone we know. You know, like that's something you're not... I think the biggest threat, honestly, might be Alabama. I think Georgia they're just due for a slightly down year, which down for them might not be missing the playoffs.
But it's like you said, the guys transferring, and then I lost a lot of their big time players.
And
Stetson Bennett's gone.
And they've won 2 I mean, they've been at top for a while. I think Georgia is up there. I think Michigan's up there. I think those 2 are like tier 2 in terms of threats. I think Bama's going to be the biggest threat because Bama had a quote unquote down year.
Right.
And they've always been in top classes. They're always just built, to compete at that level. But I think this is the year where Ohio State has a path to do it. I mean, last year it was set up for them. If they make a field goal, they win the national title. But I think this is the year where if we can just get by Michigan. So Michigan, by saying that, Michigan might be the biggest threat. Because I think if we get by them and then can kind of ease our way.
Honestly, that's what I was going to say.
Michigan?
Yeah.
Because I think if we beat them, win the Big Ten outright, then it's just like, all right, we're built for this. We finally, after 2 years, got back on top of them after beating them for a decade, shut them the fuck up, and then deal with Georgia or Bama, who we're built more to beat now.
Right.
We're built more to beat a SEC team than with a Michigan.
Right.
Yeah, so that's all I got on that. Do you have any other thoughts you would like to get out there?
I do not.
A real up and down episode today.
It was strong, though.
No, I think it was a good episode. I'm just saying it was funny because, we started heavy. And then,
we did.
And then I liked that we did some impromptu calls and no one answered. Denny's definitely blocked me. That I definitely believe.
Should I try to call him and see if it rings?
Not this time. Next week we'll have some calls ready.
Sounds good.
I'm gonna try to find a beat reporter and we'll try to make him think it's a radio show. I think that'll be funny.
That'll be good.
And then I think
get IHOP on the docket.
IHOP will be a necessity for sure. We should go to IHOP. It's been a while.
We should. We should also do a 2-way call. Like put our phones together. I call IHOP, you call Waffle House, and then we just, hello, thank you for calling Waffle House. No, you called us, and then just have them have a few.
What is this? 2012.
I don't care what year it is. It'd still be funny.
And record them.
Yes.
We can do that, Phil.
Okay.
Just for you.
Thanks, bud.
All right. We might not put it on the show, but we'll do it.
We might do it right now after we hang up.
You want to?
I don't care.
All right. We'll do that and recap it next week. This has been the 3 Dot Podcast. Phil, say goodbye.
Goodbye, everybody.
Thanks for listening to episode 23. Shout out to the Dots. Let us know about apparel. Reach out if you need help, especially Phil. All right. See you guys.
Later.